How's it going? It's May 4th, Monday. And if you are in real estate, whether you're a buyer or a seller or you are a real estate professional, you want to know, when is the real estate market going to open back up? When are we going to be able to buy and sell places, do showings, go back to work, whatever the case is. And there's some good news today from Governor Cuomo in his daily briefing, and that has to do with the phased reopening of New York State. Now, he split New York State up into different sections, different regions, and they will be opening at different paces based on the conditions within each section. So New York City is obviously the epicenter of all this and probably one of the hardest places to reopen. But let's take a look at some of the slides here, and I will show you two of the main things. So the first thing is total hospitalizations. You can see this number. It starts March 16th and it ends May 3rd. It spikes up in the middle of April, but since then it's been on a steady downward curve. Now the curve is not as sharply down as it came up, but still it's on a definite downward curve, which is great. This means that we are headed in the right direction. He also points out that we saved over 100,000 lives by flattening the curve based on the previous projections or early projections of what we would be seeing in New York State, and that is fantastic. That's a really good thing. So the next part is this slide, the phased reopening of business. Now, there's been discussion of this. Each phase is 2 weeks between each phase, assuming that numbers continue to go down. And should they go down, or should they stop going down rather, then that will have to change and they'll have to reinstitute closures. And they're hoping not to do that. And something tells me in the way that Cuomo has been handling this, that he's actually he's been doing a very good job, I think, and handling it in a conservative manner that saved lives. And I think he's going to continue to do that. So phase one, which should be May 15th, is the reopening of construction, manufacturing, and wholesale sales supply chain, select retail, curbside pickup. Okay, so part of the reason for that is construction, manufacturing, you're not as densely packed together in like an office, say, if you're doing construction or you're in a warehouse. It's a little more naturally socially distant. So, or outdoors for that matter. Now, phase two, we have professional services, finance and insurance, retail, administrative support, and real estate and rental leasing. Hooray! So, phase two, if everything starts on May 15th, then you're looking at about 2 weeks before phase two kicks in, which puts you at the beginning of June. Let's call it June 1st. So that is the earliest time that you're likely to see any real estate reopening, the real estate markets throughout the state. Now, again, remember, Cuomo has split up the state into regions, and regions will open at different times based on a number of criteria. Criteria being the infections going down, hospitalizations going down. You have to have a 90-day minimum supply of protective gear for your health workers, and you have to. There are a couple other criteria. Now, I know that New York City is prepared on certain things. They have enough protective gear to last for 90 days. But I don't know about the rest of the criteria. We haven't heard any official reports on how New York City fits into the state's criteria for the reopening. So earliest possible beginning to the real estate market, opening of the real estate market is about June 1st in New York State as a whole, probably a little bit later on New York City, just because of all the high volume that we deal with here. But we'll find out soon enough. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that real estate market being open doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be just like it was before this all started. You're going to see protective gear required on real estate showings. There are not going to be open houses. If there are open houses, they're going to be by appointment only. And you're probably also going to need individual buy-ins from the buildings. So buildings control their own policies, and there are a lot of buildings that were absolutely not allowing showings of any kind, even before New York State went on pause, and probably will continue that after New York State on pause is lifted to some degree. I'm sure everybody won't just immediately drop everything and open up. So is it going to be a region by region? In New York City, it's going to be building by building. But best case scenario is we're looking at June 1st. If I were to guess, I would say June 15th, maybe a little later, but probably almost definitely by July or sometime in July, we should be back up and running with the real estate market. So that said, are you ready? Are you a buyer and are you still interested in buying? And if you are, do you have your pre-qualification or pre-approval together? If you're a seller, are you already on the market? Are you ready to put things on the market? If you're not on the market, do you have your photos done? All that stuff. These are conversations I'm having with folks right now. So keep those things in mind. This is your update on the reopening of New York City real estate and New York State in general. All right. Talk to you.